Hey guys, Dave from DC On Screen here. Jason and I recently became aware that our host has been running Donald Trump ads on our freaking show. And rest assured, they totally did that shit without our consent. Man, we firmly believe that real-world politics have no place on our programming. The whole Giant Size Team Up Network is up in arms about this, like Blazing Defender Report, MCU Cast, Rock God of Podcasting, Breaking the Panel, Booze and Phasers, Panel by Panel. We're all working hard to stop the powers that be from running polarizing political garbage on our intellectual property. It's like coming home to find some assholes running for city council and their minions have put a sign in your front yard. So we absolutely apologize if the ads made you think differently of us. Or honestly, if they just bummed you out. I know I don't want to hear a bunch of political ads when I'm trying to listen to people talk comics. We know you don't want to hear it either. So thanks for listening. We love you guys. Enjoy the show. Welcome into DC On Screen, your guide to the DC Universe on film and television. I am your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hey.
And this is episode 212. It is a news episode. Beware of spoilers. If it's been released, we're going to talk about it. And boy, did some stuff get released.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
dig in.
My birthday was this week.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Happy birthday. Again.
Hooray.
All right, everyone, wish him happy birthday.
Wish me happy birthday. Make me feel
Did you hear all that?
special.
You heard all that, Dave?
Yeah. They all, all this obscenities being thrown at me.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah.
So,
But see, it's just silence, so you can pretend a lot of people said happy birthday or just accept that you wouldn't have been able to hear it anyway, but you can't get any more down on yourself than it already is.
Oh, I can get more down on myself. We'll see. You'll know.
All right, technically you shouldn't be able to, but I tried.
So the Dark Knight Batsuit and Batpod sold at an auction. The Batpod got sold for $406,000.
I actually thought it'd be more than that. I mean, that was a working bike, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I doubt it does the little flip up and down the walls thing,
All right.
for real. But it looked like the thing where it extends and goes low on you. It looked like that was real.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't negligently murder citizens.
No, not nearly as often.
So yeah, it was done by this the Prop Store auction, which is a UK memorabilia company. It was a big online auction. They also sold the Batman suit, the Dark Knight Batman suit, $250,000.
Jeez.
So they had stuff from Star Wars, The Goonies, Jaws, a whole bunch of different properties.
God,
So that's kind of interesting.
whoever bought that suit can't really fill it out.
Yeah, they were, Stephen Lane, the chief executive officer of the Prop Store, was saying that, it probably won't get worn by anybody. He says that they'll really end up in a glass display somewhere.
Yeah, vacuum sealed.
I would hope. Do you know who Asa Butterfield is?
No.
He was a kid in the Ender's Game. He came like this close.
Oh,
to
the
playing
kid that was
Spider-Man.
just about to be Spidey. Yeah.
So he wants to be a part of the DCEU. He says, DC, honestly, just from the comics and the cartoon series, I like the grittiness of DC. He says he liked Batman v Superman. He was a big fan of it. He says he's really excited to see Justice League. He says he wants to be in the DCU. He doesn't want to be Robin, though, but he would like to be Billy Batson, maybe.
Oh, that'd be fun. Still, I look at him and I think Tim Drake pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, how do you not be like, hey, I want to be Damian Wayne? How do you not want to be a Robin?
I don't know. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
even Damian Wayne doesn't actually want to be a Robin, but until he can kill his dad successfully, he'll just have to...
Anyway, so last week we were talking about Jeff Bewkes addressing the Goldman Sachs investors, and we missed a big thing, but I don't feel that bad because everybody else missed it except for one duo.
One tiny little
dynamic
outlet.
duo. Our buddies, Scott and Tim at the Suicide Squad cast, went back, listened to the raw audio. Turns out Jeff Bewkes says the Batman solo movie is a year and a half out. No one else caught it but them. They're being... they've blown up, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at them. That's good.
Good catch, guys.
Yeah, it was a great catch. I saw that, and I totally didn't rip all of my pillows in the house apart.
Yeah. A couple of them, like, when you got to the end, your arms were too weak, and a few of them remained. Right. And then you just needed to lie down on something.
Right.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, good catch.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, congratulations, guys.
We were
they are
nowhere near
all
that
over
thorough
the place
last week.
now. No. Moving on to Batman v Superman. Ben Affleck was asked by he's doing all this press for his new movie The Accountant, which by the way looks pretty phenomenal.
It kind of does.
He's being interviewed about that, and he was asked what his thoughts about BVS were. And he says, it's interesting. It was a huge hit movie. More people went to see that than any movie I've made in my career. It was the biggest hit of my career, and then it had so much editorial negativity. Fans went, and I got a lot of positive response. It was interesting, that movie, because it was judged not necessarily on execution so much as on its tone. People seemed to want to have a lighter tone to the movie. And I thought that was interesting. Tone is not a qualitative thing. It's subjective, right? Some tones resonate with me that might not with you. And the tone of the movie was really parallel to the Frank Miller book, The Dark Knight Returns, which I liked and thought was great. I'm glad that so many people went and so many people liked the movie. When they asked what he thought of it, he says, yeah, I loved it. So I kind of think the movie was also heavily critiqued for some of its execution, like...
No, I mean
like the editing, and the
Martha
thing.
As a gist, I think he's still being accurate, but yeah, it did get some. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
if
I would
all
say
he
that's
meant
true
was
about
that
the
it was.
Edition.
No, I mean if all he meant was that it was the overwhelming criticism focused on the tone, then yeah, he's right.
Yeah, sure. Speaking of BVS,
I do feel bad for him. I mean, look at all these tickets.
Speaking of that, and you know what, they like Man of Steel. Sorry, not Man of Steel. Batman v Superman. Like, I don't even think I'd put this down anywhere, but they blew the world away with their Blu-ray and DVD sales the first week they were out.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was fun. I mean, anecdotally, I went to a couple of stores that week, as one does, and I knew when it was coming out because I was getting I got my copy like on the porch that morning.
Oh yeah, me too.
So I know what day I was expecting to get this because I was making sure I could like get back from work real quick, snatch that off the porch and get it back inside and head back. But I went to the store like the next day, and those giant cardboard blocked out things they have in the big box stores, they already had other movies on it. It was like the next day, and they were already pulling in stuff that you could tell the retail manager was like, well, that's kind of similar. Grab that. Do we have any Green Lanterns left? Throw them on the shelf.
Yep.
Yeah, it moved.
Yeah, it made $31 million in its first week Blu-ray sales.
It's not bad.
No.
It's just not bad at all.
That's not the behavior of a movie that's considered bad.
That no one loved.
Anyway. Speaking of which, you can get the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition Blu-ray DVD HD combo in a new set, which is a Batman v Superman Man of Steel box set. It's going to be an Amazon exclusive, available December 6th, 2016. It's going to have what I just said, BVS Ultimate Edition on Blu-ray, DVD, digital HD. It's going to have the Man of Steel Blu-ray. Reprints for Action Comics #1 and Detective Comics #27, the first Superman and Batman appearances, respectively. There are going to be DC collector's figures of New 52 Jim Lee designed Batman and Superman. They're going to have trading cards, exclusive limited edition trading cards for Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice in this thing. It's going to be $123.99, but a lot of shit in there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Big gift set. I'm sure it'll do well for the holidays. Did you see these alternate designs for Aquaman's trident and Wonder Woman's sword?
No, I didn't.
There's a whole bunch of stuff, actually. It's concept artist Robert McKinnon. He worked on Iron Man 3. He worked on Captain America the Winter Soldier. And he worked on Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
And he put out a bunch of concept art on his website. Alternate designs for the Trident of Neptune. There are like 4 or 5 of those. There are about 20 different swords of Athena for Wonder Woman. There's an alternate Man of Steel statue, where it's sort of, and it's pretty badass, actually. It looks like he's flying, and like clearly like there would have been some sort of structure behind him, and like his cape is made up of like a waterfall. Instead of false god written across, it says Nazi god. He's got like alternate versions of the Kryptonite Spear, the Batwing, designs for Gotham City, Superman's casket, the Bat symbol. It's pretty badass. So I'll provide a link to that in the show notes.
If it's the guy that I'm thinking about, he's kind of everywhere. Like across, what was his name again?
Robert McKinnon.
God, I think it's the same guy. I'd have to go do a little bit of research, but it's one of the guys that's been like all over the costumes for everything we've been watching for years now. Every superhero he's kind of come in and touched here and there.
That doesn't sound right.
I'll find a name here. Catch you up on it later.
This McKinnon guy has been going around touching superheroes.
Touching them.
Dude, did you see the Batman v Batman trailer that Screen Rant did?
No, I didn't. I'm gonna watch that though. I'm gonna watch it in the background while you're dealing with that.
I'm gonna provide a link in the show notes for it. I'm usually not one for the fan mashup trailers. They did a really good job. Matching scenes, and I'm just gonna have to spoil it for Jason then, since he's watching it. When Christian Bale goes to Michael Keaton for help. Oh, my heart. I was delighted as a child.
Well, this is thrown together exactly as well as you said it would be.
I know.
Well, damn. All right, well, moving on, but still, good job, guys.
All right, before we get into any more news, I'm going to jump really quick. You guys know we are sponsored by Loot Crate. For October, they're doing horror theme. We knew they were going to go there.
Naturally.
We talked about it last week anyway. They are taking over 40 years of creepy, campy, bloody icons, putting them in this month's crate. Channel your best final girl with items from The Walking Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Halloween. Ain't no Gone in 60 Seconds in there this time. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, you are screwed, guys. So make sure you head over to lootcrate.com/giant size team up. Enter the code giant size team up to save a little cash on your loot. It's going to be less than $20 a month.
It's still a good deal. And as Dave pointed out, no Nicolas Cage this time.
No Nicolas Cage this time.
Not one chance that you're going to get a tiny... Actually, I was about to say articulated Nicolas Cage figure, but somehow I thought articulated Nicolas Cage are... Those three words aren't supposed to get together directly.
Well, every once in a while, he's very well articulated.
It's been so long.
All right. Moving on to Suicide Squad. Yay. $738.8 million worldwide.
It's doing okay.
Over $320 million domestic. It has passed into the 50 highest grossing movies of all time. It has surpassed Iron Man.
I actually am surprised. Iron Man did so damn well.
Yeah, that's crazy, guys. So, good job. Good job proving the critics wrong, I guess. Like, I kind of feel like that's what's happening. Like, the fans are just going, you know what? We're going to go every day. Maybe it's that there isn't much to watch out there right now.
It seems like there was a ton of stuff over the summer, but man, that's a ton of money to bring in.
It is by and large been a fairly disappointing summer, from what I understand.
Maybe they just.
I normally don't go out to the movies. I normally don't go out to the movies unless it's a superhero movie or a Star Trek movie.
Yeah, I did see Ghostbusters
because I have to save my rubles.
Yeah,
I'll watch all them other movies on the Netflix or something.
Yeah, they'll come around for much cheaper things.
I'm not gonna spend $12 for John Cusack to look sad for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, if you give it a few months, there will be some service that I'm already subscribed to where I can go watch him be sad on my couch for free.
Absolutely.
Or for what feels like free, since I've already paid for it.
Right. Jai Courtney is delightful. He was on MTV's Josh Horowitz Happy, Sad, Confused podcast.
Okay.
He talked about how he doesn't really listen to reviews. When it gets a little too noisy, he just tunes out. He says he thought everyone did a great performance in Suicide Squad. He does say that adapting a comic book is, you're asking for it, is what he says. He says, how do you please everyone? Actually. He says, how do you please everyone? I don't think Suicide Squad ever intended to, so no one's setting out to upset the fan base. Certainly not a fan base that can be as loyal as this kind of crowd can. But I don't know how you can push the envelope or try and protect something without taking risks. I know what I like in a movie, and it's not the same thing as my 12-year-old niece. It's a challenge, and David Ayer did an incredible job, and I sure as hell hope we get to make another one with him.
Yeah.
And he's talking about, how film. They were talking about how films that seem to please everyone, and the Dark Knight trilogy was brought up, and he did acknowledge that they were really good films, and they were praised for he did praise the high quality of those films. He even talked about how he would he wouldn't mind being a part of Marvel if it was more of his style. But he did point out DC's still the bad guy too, Marvel has this incredible formula that seems to work. I think some elements of those movies, not that I see a lot of them, but I think some are done really, really well, and they're very entertaining. They've had the time to sort of let that shit marinate to the point where everything's established now. We don't have to figure out who anyone is. It's like, cool, get them all together and let's have a fucking orgy and make $1 billion, and that's great. I think it's awesome. Listen, if I was playing Thor for the 9th time, I'd be stoked as well, as I'm sure Chris is.
Mm-hmm.
And,
The man's making good points so far. What else you got, Josh?
Josh Horowitz said, asked him about the rumors that he was in The Flash, and he's like, "Oh, is that what the rumor is? I like that rumor. I like that a lot." But he goes on to say, "But we don't really know. You're all just mushrooms at DC, kept in the dark and fed shit all day."
Yeah. I like his diction.
I like this guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he was a lot of fun to listen to. I listened to the podcast to hear what he had to say. It was a lot of fun.
I'm starting to think when Ayer told him to find his inner shit bag, some of the vocabulary stuck around.
I mean,
which is, by the way, one of the greatest phrases in the history of directing. Find your inner shit bag.
Yeah, in this interview, he even did admit, this is, Suicide Squad being, shit on and review-wise was not the worst tentpole movie he's ever been a part of. I mean, this...
This guy started his career with Jack Reacher. Or he started popping off with it.
Oh, no. Remember...
I, Frankenstein?
If you'll recall. Well, maybe that one, but the first thing I ever saw him in was A Good Day to Die Hard, the 5th Die Hard movie.
Oh, my.
He was John McClane's son.
God, he was, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's Terminator Genesis.
Man, it's got to be rough when somebody tells you you're going to have a role as cool as... You're going to be John McClane's freaking son. That's great. What's the movie going to be? You get into it, and then you get on the other side of that and think, how did that go wrong?
Okay, quick little detour here. A Good Day to Die Hard was not a bad film.
I'm aware.
It was.
I'm scoffing at the fact
film.
that we've finally warned someone that we were going to take a detour. Go ahead.
It was a bad film, in as much as every Die Hard movie has been
kind
a
of a bad film. Yeah.
Now, I love the Die Hard movies. I do. I don't buy into this theory that John McClane or anyone else suddenly became a superhero in the 4th movie. There are videos to prove otherwise. They had medical professionals sit there and tell you, nope, he would have been dead 14 times over by this point.
I can't remember.
That's just the first movie.
Who is it that does that? There's a YouTube channel that actually does that. You recall them?
I don't remember their name.
Oh, crap.
Don't remember
I'm
their
sorry.
name.
We'd love to give those guys a shout out at this point.
Yes, I would.
But, yeah, I have watched that. They gone through, how many different times he would have been injured, either to the point that he wouldn't make it any further in the film, or would have just died instantly, or would have at least been mortally wounded, and eventually probably died, without immediate medical help.
Of course. It was Screen Junkies.
Oh, Screen Junkies.
Honest Action. They have 2 videos. Die Hard, the first one, because that's how many times he died in the first one, or should have. And then they have a second video that's 2 through 5. So you guys could just get off of your high horse and stop talking about how the 4 and 5 were so unrealistic compared to the first 3. I'm sorry nostalgia is coloring your view of the past. Those other movies were shit.
They were all kind of
amazing. Amazing. And I love them to death. I'll watch them right now. Not right now because I'm doing the podcast.
Just after.
But right after or something. But
wait for Christmas.
Anyway. Yeah, that's good.
Good family viewing.
So anyway, have you seen the 50 Shades of Joker parody?
No.
It's by YouTube guy Nerdy Hero. Go check it out. It's fun. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like.
I I saw it. I saw that it existed, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know what 50 Shades of Grey is roughly referring to, and I don't know anything else about it.
Yeah, he basically just took the trailer and messed around with it and with Suicide Squad stuff until it was 50 Shades of Joker. That's basically what happened.
Okay. I wouldn't know when to tell them they got it right or wrong. I just have no idea. Never.
That's okay.
I was in a thrift store one day and saw 50 Shades of Grey and went, okay. And like read one page somewhere in the middle of the book and went, all right, well, that's detailed. Put it back on the shelf and walked away.
Oh, it's bad, man. I mean, I'm not even talking about morally bad. I mean, it is kind of that too, but I'm talking about just like, it's not good writing by any stretch.
It was not my thing. Just not my thing.
It was like someone who just went through puberty wrote a book.
It felt like that. We're going to get a lot of hate for some people that really like that book, but
I don't give a shit.
We've gotten hate for worse things. Moving on.
I guess so. And better things.
Yeah, that's true.
So Clay Enos has he shared a behind-the-scenes squad shot. You remember the first Suicide Squad photo we got of them all standing together?
Yeah, the big old group shot.
It is a shot by Eric Matthews of Enos taking that shot of him like laying on the ground and like lining it up. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I dig stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There were also alternate costume designs that were released online for Suicide Squad by concept artist Stefan Martiner, who did Avengers Age of Ultron and Guardians of the Galaxy. See, Marvel versus DC, guys. Behind the scenes, it's all the same cats. Just shut up.
It really is. Look at some of those stuntmen one day.
Right?
It's amazing.
But yeah, there is a bunch of artwork for like alternate costumes for Katana, Enchantress, Incubus, the Eyes of the Adversary. See, David Ayer would have you believe he just dreamed this shit up and then drew it down, like wrote it down, like he just drew a picture of what they look like, and they're like, "That's what we're doing." No, man, there were also concept artists working on this thing,
as there always freaking are.
Yeah. So, Flash director Rick Famuyiwa posted a picture of the Flash script, his revision script. On top was a Funko Pop of the Flash, and next to him there was another pair of feet. It was Funko Pop Cyborg. Wonder what he's hitting at. Wonder what he's hitting at there, buddy. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. So,
Can't
Superman
homepage. Just can't be done.
I know. It's weird. Superman homepage is hinting, not really hinting, they don't know for sure, but someone posted a picture of a crane at the Kent Farm, what looks like the Kent Farm location, and they're saying it's for the Justice League shot. Superman homepage seems to be not so sure. They say, for all we know, they could be servicing a silo or something. So that's out there. Amy Adams has been talking about using her imagination in Justice League, talking about Lois Lane and playing Lois Lane and visiting her for a third movie. She says the most challenging part is playing the same character but with different requirements for each story. In Man of Steel, the focus was Superman and our personal story. Batman v Superman was to introduce Batman while keeping Lois as a through line. As far as Justice League, she says a lot of imagination is required on set. Sometimes you have to pretend you're in a huge city. It's about completely getting lost in what we create.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, any of these big tentpole films, you know, they're most of the time they're just reacting to a green screen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have to know that.
Yeah, I've seen hilarious pictures of Ian McKellen sitting in a room full of green looking sad because he hasn't seen people in days. Like, he's just lost touch with the human race.
Oh, man. I hate you, Jason.
Sorry. Like, the picture, I saw it and laughed and went, oh. It was literally, my reaction was, no.
So, Justice League has wrapped in Leavesden. They've wrapped up. Jason Momoa was not able to go to the wrap party. He posted on Instagram.
He had to go be awesome somewhere else.
Yeah, he like posted a picture on Instagram of him just working out and looking badass. And he's like, "There's too many people to thank for all their hard work." JL, tonight is our rap party. I am so thankful for my cast and crew. I love you. I have never in my life missed a rap party, but as you all know, I'm a huge fan of the food and merriment. Unfortunately, I prepare for the North.
I prepare for the North.
This is how this guy talks. For those that will be there, I won't let you down. Shaka aloha. See you Monday. He signs an Aquaman.
That's fantastic. No, he's got the diction down. If that's actually how he speaks, I prepare for the North. You don't...
I prepare for the North.
Just tell him what his character is supposed to be getting across in parentheses. Don't actually write any dialogue for him.
Yeah, so he's purportedly going to Iceland, to Djupavik. So
Poor
there's
bastard.
that.
I got nothing against Iceland in theory, but oh my god, I can't deal with the cold. I would wither like a forgotten flower in about 42 seconds.
Meanwhile, they had this big rap party in at the Forge Bar in London. Looked kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Some pictures have been posted. Mostly people who work at the bar posing with the Justice League members.
Sure, because yes.
So yeah, Ezra Miller has been talking about why he's excited. The main reason he's excited for his role in Fantastic Beasts and Justice League. This is what he had to say, and this made me just love Ezra Miller so much. He says, I think about this quite a lot. I'm really excited for my action figures. I will have all of them. I will have the heaviest collected versions of them, hopefully with, like, exchangeable suits. Maybe some sort of, like, toy where it fits in the little hand, the little plastic can. Yeah, that's going to be very weird. I do imagine that will be odd, but I'm down. I definitely want to make Credence and the Flash have a little battle. Yeah, that part of this stuff. I mean, like, going into a room where there's maybe actually 1,000 cameras surrounding you, that they can take a picture so that they can, like, calculate your skeleton so that they can make a mold of your body, and it's beyond me, like, genuinely way over my head. But I'm really enjoying all aspects of the process, and yeah, I'm really hoping to milk this whole experience for as many action figures as I can get. Not just action figures of myself, which is obviously cool for its own reasons, but just action figures in general from both of the worlds I'm involved in.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, man?
Nothing.
I mean,
nothing.
Obviously,
that is a beautiful thing.
It's the same thing that's wrong with me, because I would be the same. I
don't collect these things.
Shit.
I would still do that. If I played a bit part in some freaking forgotten NCIS episode and they happen to make a poster of me, that shit would be on my wall.
Of course, yeah. You know,
God help me if there was an action figure. I would own every possible variant.
Oh yeah, me too.
Like
I've
one
actually
released
looked into
only in Hong Kong, and there were 40 of them. I would travel the world.
I have seriously looked into, like, different custom action figure companies just to make a limited edition run of, like, 5 action figures for all the Hey Guy characters. We did an improvised, me and Jason and a few other guys did an improvised web series on YouTube. It's still up. You can look for David C. Robertson. You'll find it.
Yeah.
It's an improvised web series. It's just, we play old men sitting on a couch bickering, and there's actually a story to it if you watch all of it. But I want action figures of these characters.
I don't know why.
Because they would make me happy.
I was
for the
fully a
exact
part of
reason
that,
we were just talking about.
For better or worse, and I could. And that's the sad part. I wouldn't wish them, but if they were there, I would immediately need them.
Oh, sure. Dude, I've talked to
It's like the way I think about
White,
Red Velvet Cake. I never want it around me because I know that immediately I will have it in me.
That's the same thing with the action figures. If they're around me, I know I'm going to put them inside of me.
Right.
Boo. But no, our fan/friend Christopher White has talked to me. He's watched all of Hey Guy.
That poor guy.
I apparently enjoyed it, but he said he would buy action figures if we made them.
Oh man, I wish I had enough money to just make some and send them to him.
Yeah, me too. So Ben Affleck has been talking about the Batman tactical suit. He says there's two suits in Justice League. I think I almost said 2 Jews in Justice League. That's not good. There's 2 suits in Justice League. I thought you were going to say Jutes. there's two suits in Justice League. One is the one that we've seen before, and then one that he augments because of the nature of the mission, which I can't give away. But it was a chance for them to play with the suit and add elements to it and kind of tech it out, and I thought they did a really good job. It was really fun. He was also asked to confirm that he was doing the Batman movie. He says, "That's right. That's what they say." That's what they say. So yeah. He says, J.K. Simmons will be in it, just like the accountant. I want to do all my movies with J.K. So yeah, I can't blame him there. J.K. by the way, has been talking
He's
about
great.
it. Simmons has been talking about being Gordon. He says, "I'm stepping into an iconic character that has been portrayed by a number of wonderful actors, and that's intimidating enough. The new aspects that are being brought to the Batman universe are really intriguing." I want to know what he's talking about there, but he doesn't go into it. "I'm just doing my best to serve between a combination of my instincts. Obviously, Zach's guidance. I'll have Ben's guidance in future films where he'll be on both sides of the camera, which I'm really excited about. And then differentiating Gordon with his past versions, he says, it's a combination of wanting to step into and inhabit that character to the best of my ability, and you can't ignore what's gone before, but I'm trying to make it, to bring my take to it."
I don't know what to make of any of that. But it's the same with Ezra Miller. Like, I'm just excited. They're as excited about these things.
So this, I think, broke today, the day of recording, October 3rd. Ben Affleck confirms the working title of the solo movie to be The Batman. So that's there. That's what I thought we were going to be calling it the whole time.
Yeah.
Joe Manganiello.
Also, that gives us nothing, Ben. It gives us nothing.
I don't know, man. I think it does. Like, I dig that tone. Like, that's like calling it The Batman. That, like...
Well, it separates it.
pulls
It's an
back to
entity, not a person.
Sure, it's more like the legacy, the legend, but it also pulls back to the Golden Age when they did refer to him as the Batman. If that shit had a dash in it, I don't know. I might just have a breakdown. Like, I just might have a meltdown right here. If it said the Bat-Man, I might cry. Because I got teary-eyed when we went to go see Batman v Superman, and like that white screen came up and it said the day the world meets the Superman. I just, oh my god, what? What?
It's impossible for me to do that. Like, my reaction when I see him cited as the Superman is I immediately think of Nietzsche or however the hell you want to pronounce his name.
And, yeah, and that's exactly what I felt like they were doing too. But you were sitting right next to me. I don't know if you heard me, but I think I made a sound kind of like this.
I heard something like that.
Sure. So
I was still recovering from Bruce being lifted up by bats.
And I think it was part of the Superman thing. And they even refer to Batman as the Batman. Like, Perry refers to him as the Batman in Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
It brought me back to that Golden Age mentality where, no, I didn't care that Batman was killing. That's Golden Age Batman, dude. That's what he's doing. Anyway. Joe Manganiello, playing Deathstroke, he's started to release pictures of things that he's been sent by DC Entertainment for research. The two posts that I've seen, #research and #research2. We've seen Batman Earth 1, which is interesting because Deathstroke isn't in that. But it was written by Jeff Johns. That's where they really started hitting home on the, like, Alfred was hired by Thomas Wayne as like the head of security, and like he's a badass. Even though Paul Dini did it first, kind of. Not even kind of. There was a whole episode devoted to it. But Identity Crisis, they had that one in there, which is a weird choice, I think, but an interesting choice. And I love Identity Crisis. It's amazing.
There are parts of that of the book that are fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Tons of Deathstroke trade paperbacks. A Teen Titans trade paperback. I actually honestly thought there would be more Teen Titans. But it looks like they're really honing in on the Rebirth and New 52 Deathstroke. And Affleck actually talks about that. We'll get to that in a second. But they have action figures, all sorts of shit. I don't envy all the training this dude has to do to play Deathstroke.
No.
Man, I want his merch. I want all the shit that all these things that they're giving him. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just your welcome to work. Here's your reading material package.
Right.
For him, by the way, to be sure, he doesn't have to do a lot of extra work to play Death. This guy already looked like that. I mean, he's done the work. Now he's just doing maintenance.
Right.
Which not to disgruntle anyone in the bodybuilding industry, getting there is a little harder than staying there. I'm sure someone's going to say I'm wrong about that, but no, seriously.
Probably. So Ben Affleck explains why he chose Deathstroke for the solo movie. Sure. He says he's a great villain. That's really all he needed. I just had an instinctive feeling.
The rest of us would go, and sure.
Yeah. I just had an instinctive feeling that he would match up with him well. I'm a big admirer of that character as well, especially in the New 52, the way they did Deathstroke, and I thought that it could work.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He's not wrong.
There you go. No, absolutely not. And I don't know, like, I'm kind of excited that they're not really going into some of the more mainstream villains yet, if that makes any sense. Like, I didn't want to see Joker this time. I didn't want to see Penguin necessarily this time. Or Riddler.
Penguin and Riddler are doing so well somewhere else that I don't like. Gotham's got them under control right now, and I'm happy to just leave them over there. Mm-hmm. Hell, Joker to some extent is doing so well over there that if they just bring the kid back, we'd all be really happy. But I had the mixed feelings on that for me were I'd like to see more of this Joker, but I'm not entirely sure I'd like to see an entire film's worth of this Joker. Mm-hmm. I don't know where my saturation point is with him. So on the one hand, yeah, I like him going off the mainstream, and Deathstroke's a fine one. Like they're kind of a fun match because they're always going to be a street level match. These two are going to fight it out in an alley. I mean, it's not going to be it's not going to be a giant psychological nightmare. It's not going to be. I mean, think about a lot of his villains, and it's really just grandiose. No, these two are going to fight, which I'm looking forward to. But
sure.
At the same time, I feel like if we don't get to some of those people, we're going to leave them behind because this thing is about to get into Justice League 1 and 2 and go from there. And we're all pointing toward Green Lantern Corps at the end of this journey right now. We have Shazam a few movies away.
Which
it's getting into the big dogs. Where if you were going to do Deathstroke, you might as well do him now because I'm not sure if he's going to fit in the future.
Well, no, I disagree. I think the great thing about what they're doing is that they can move on and do a Teen Titans movie, and Deathstroke is the primary villain in Teen Titans most of the time.
Yeah.
They could go on and move on to that, and meanwhile, if they want to do a prequel movie with Batman, they can de-age him pretty easily. I mean, Ben Affleck doesn't look terribly old now.
No, strangely he doesn't.
So they could go back and do a prequel movie. I mean, you look at even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on ABC, with their fairly limited budget, have done really good work in doing flashbacks and showing me younger versions of characters in flashbacks. Yeah. So, they do a couple of movies that are current day. Maybe we flash back and show something that happened in the past. With Batman movies, that's fine. But as far as going forward with Batman movies, I don't need to see a whole lot except for what they have in Justice League or a Teen Titans or a Birds of Prey, God willing. So
fingers crossed.
And what's more, I don't need a lot of Joker. I don't need I've talked about this before, but if just show me Joker in flashback, I'll be good. From what I hear, you've got enough footage.
Yeah.
You never have to deal with Leto again. Just go in, show clips, little flashes, almost acid flashbacks of Leto's Joker, and we'll get the idea. Oh yeah, he killed Robin. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, he was a bastard. He's haunted Batman for years. Mm-hmm. Let's do something new. If they want to bring Leto in again, that's fine with me too. I don't like you said. I don't know what my saturation point with him is. I think about the 10-minute mark, maybe right around what they did with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's it. Really may be. The thing is, he was just interesting enough that I really might be happy with a feature film with this guy, and I also might get to the halfway mark in that film and think, all right, he's a little. I don't know. He might be too much, but I won't know until I get there. I don't think with him I'll know until I've hit that point where I go, yeah, this is too much.
He might be too much, but then again, I've always really wanted to see the concept of the Joker that has appeared in the books, where it's he's different. He can be different at different times because his brain is so messed up that he just has different personalities at different points in time. Yeah. But he's still the Joker. He still kind of remembers what's happening. He knows Batman's his villain. Yeah.
If you pick up a comic book 10 years after the last time you picked up a comic book and it's the Joker in your hands again, he comes across differently, but you're supposed to theoretically look at that guy and go, yeah, that's definitely him. He walks differently. He's dressing different, but it's him.
Yeah, and there was a book. It was a trading card set, I think. It was the Batman Masterpieces, I think. I have the book somewhere. around here, but they actually go ahead and talk about how like his personality changes, and some of the cards are like different eras in time that Joker has imagined. It's like what he remembers, and it's like he and Batman are like in King Arthur's court fighting and whatnot.
Of course.
And like sometimes they're pirates.
Of course.
And he's like, I think that's the way it happened.
Don't quote me. I can deal with that. And I also like the idea of if they do it that way, where what you were saying earlier, kind of he's always haunting him. I like the idea of him if they're going to just do like a flashback version or just refer to him every now and then. I like the idea of the Joker just being a specter that just will always be there for him, like some motivating factor that all we need as viewers of the DCEU is just a little glimpse of that specter hanging over Bruce's shoulder the entire time.
Right.
Just every movie, a couple of seconds of him just laughing at him. Because that's one of the fun parts about the Joker is he does always seem to be laughing at him, implying you'll never be good enough.
Yeah. All right, so jumping back to Deathstroke really quick, though, Zack Snyder released a picture. Zack is wearing Batman's gauntlet, and he's like drawing on his tablet. But if you turn the picture around, you can see what the storyboards are that he's messing with. Now, they might just be stick figures, but one of those damn stick figures has a sword over his shoulder and an eye patch.
Wonder who that might be.
Now, the other stick figure looks like he's wearing a suit with a tie, and, it might just be a stick figure, but a lot of people are saying there's no hair on it, which is probably Lex Luthor is what they're saying. Maybe Lex is out and about. Maybe he's hired Deathstroke. Maybe that'll tie into the next to the Batman solo film.
And it
maybe it's not that at all.
It could be as simple as Deathstroke's a mercenary, man. All of this could be a mislead. He could not be the main guy. It could be Jesus. Whoever the big bad we're dealing with in Justice League 1 and 2, he could just be one of a series, the first wave of people that whoever's going to throw at us. Well, Darkseid, Imperiex, freaking whatever.
I doubt it's going to be Imperiex.
Imperiex hired Deathstroke.
No,
to
come on,
take
man.
him out. Yeah,
that's silly.
I'm just going to say it in case I'm right.
Okay.
I want first dibs.
Oh,
you're gonna see like a check to Deathstroke from Starro. That's.
Wouldn't start. I'm not even getting into it.
I don't think he could write a check. He can't articulate. But he could have someone write the check for him.
I hate you, Jason. Moving on to television. Cameron Bicondova was interviewed by Kate Rowan over at Gotham Magazine. And they talked about a few different things. The pertinent thing for me was her talking about Selina's darker path. She says she's going to be going down a darker path for sure. She's going to be going through more of a roller coaster when it comes to life. She's going to be evolving in her relationship with Bruce Wayne. I thought that was interesting. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, I still don't know what that
something
means.
I will be.
Strangely, they're getting to the age where that doesn't seem weird, whereas Poison Ivy.
Right. Well, yeah. Cameron is 17 right now. So that's about right for that kind of storyline.
Look, a lot of us have been 16 and 17 and 18 and 19. And around that area, you start you start trying things. You start talking to people.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that. I was never that age.
Yeah, you were born about several years. You were born about 28. you didn't so much age as cure.
Like jerky.
Yes. The rest of us fought hard for every step of the way.
Right. Morena Baccarin is in talks. Not in talks. What am I talking about? She's talking about this thing that I'm not excited about at all. She's referring to herself, Mario, or Lee, Mario, Jim, and Valerie Vale on Gotham. She calls it a love quadrangle.
Well,
he's got a love interest as well as Valerie Vale, a news reporter. It becomes really interesting further on in the season when these two women find themselves in the same room together. I don't want this.
I'm more excited about the word quadrangle because it makes me chuckle than... more who's he gonna go with soap opera bullshit out of Gordon.
Yeah.
I did not watch this show to find out who Jim was going to pursue romantically in the early stages of his career. I want a rooftop, giant light, some dude visiting him that he can never hear coming. That's why I started watching the show.
Right?
Get me to that point, guys. Look, I mean, even in like Batman
Supergirl.
Year One, I didn't care at all about his romantic side story in that.
Oh, no, I kind of dug that, Commissioner Gordon has a beard, cheats on his wife, that whole thing.
It's not at all my favorite part.
I mean, it made me think less of him as a person.
Beating the crap out of Flash. Yeah, that's what I was looking for out of this show.
Right. I don't know. I enjoyed that they actually told the story of what happened between Gordon and his wife before Sarah Essen.
Could have just told me irreconcilable differences, and I'd been like, cool. They couldn't decide which way the toilet paper is supposed to go on the holder. Cool. We've all been there. Call a lawyer.
Oh goodness. So over to Supergirl. They released a little trailer and a preview of Clark and Kara teaming up and stopping this I guess is a spaceship from crashing. Looks pretty phenomenal.
Yes.
Mostly. There was some cheese in there that I hope gets sorted thusly.
All right, yeah. There's a couple of very Supergirly lines. I don't know.
Well, it was like the lady on the news says, we can only pray that she sees this.
Yeah.
And then James Olsen steps forward as if any damn body is watching and goes, she did. And I'm like, oh, shut up. That's awful. Why would you do that? But the rest of it was kind of phenomenal. Clark talking to Perry, bringing up the Great Caesar's ghost is kind of an antiquated saying.
Yep.
He's like, well, yes, sir, I'm aware that we're not talking about you.
Yeah. It was great.
It was good stuff.
I was
good stuff.
pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see him playing Superman. I think he looks good in the show.
He looks like he's doing an okay Clark Kent.
Yeah,
I'm not.
He wasn't exactly flummoxing and falling over every damn thing like Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
But Anyway, the Dominators. It's been released that the Dominators are going to be invading Earth in the big crossover. These are the creatures from the Todd McFarlane Invasion run. They're like all long-faced and yellow with big red dots on their heads, and they have sharp teeth and pointed ears. So that's happening. Mark Guggenheim says we're using cutting-edge prosthetics and computer effects to achieve a feature film quality look, which is faithful to artist Todd McFarlane's interpretation of the characters. So yeah,
I watched too much Buffy over the summer, so part of me thought they looked like the Hush guys,
a little bit,
but yellow and with giant red dots on their face.
Right. So Supergirl, if you guys remember last year, they did like the CW superhero fight club, where everyone's like downstairs fighting in this cage match thing for fun.
Still, yeah.
They bring Supergirl in. They have like the kryptonite Supergirl power dampeners like they do on her show, and Ollie and Barry bring her in, and she's all excited. Now, initially they released only about a minute of it because they really wanted you to download the new CW app to watch the other 3 or 4 minutes. They have since released the entire thing, but the app is really cool.
Oh, it's got serious upsides. I'm kind of looking forward to testing this thing out.
It is a new upgrade for the CW app. It's the new app. They've released the new app for the 4th gen Apple TV. You can watch it on that. It's now works on Google's Chromecast and Apple TV and AirPlay. It's they've actually they've upgraded it. This is actually the definition of upgrade.
Like
This is
I'm waiting to see if I'm understanding this correctly, but the thing that I think I understood about it was that you'd be able to actually watch episodes.
Yeah, unlimited and free access to all the shows on your iPhone, iPad, and all these AirPlay, Chromecast, all that. Absolutely.
That may be a giant advantage. And there are a lot of things you can do with that. Like, it's not like you just have to watch it on your phone. There's, like you said, Chromecast, there's Sling, there's other things you can do to get it up on a television if you want to. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're limited
you can play with Roku.
Yeah, Roku if you want to. This may be a giant advantage for everyone who... You remember how bummed out we were when... Well, I was, at least, because I adored Hulu's capacity to show me these freaking shows as I went. Mm-hmm. It was extremely useful. But they cut out their deal. Hulu's apparently not in the game anymore, and then with Netflix, you'd have to watch it like a week later, which is just untenable. That's not a world I want to live in. So, right. CW app is apparently going to solve that for me. I feel like I'm pimping the CW app, and I won't officially admit to that until I've actually tried it and I can watch episodes, but after that, you may hear me pimping it.
Mm-hmm. Now, as for the Superhero Fight Club 2.0, what did you think of that? I kind of thought it was awesome, but dumb.
That's actually, no, I mean, you're disagreeing on a few points of it, but I would still say awesome, but dumb. Like, ultimately, weird.
Pretty weird.
But I enjoyed
weird
it.
Weird choice for the soundtrack.
Oh,
to the jungle.
Oh, God, I could have done without that. The only thing about that was redeemable, because I have said before, I'm just not a Guns N' Roses fan. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but,
me either. I just
like even their popular tracks, I just don't care for it. But little bit worth it for Cisco's na at the end.
Yeah,
at least that was funny. But Cisco can make about anything redeemable.
Yeah, I saw that and just kind of like shuddered and went, "Oh, that's embarrassing."
It is, but I laughed at him. Which was the point. So
now the part that I'm pretty sure we weren't supposed to laugh at is when they all joined hand and got electrocuted, and that's how they defeated the thing in the danger room.
I don't know. I hope we were supposed to laugh at that.
That's essentially what this shit is.
I kind of shrugged. Oh,
that was essentially what this was, is the danger room from X-Men. But I don't know. Some of this looked really, really bad.
I don't know. I know I said this talking to you, but given the theme of the last couple episodes, the finales of the previous seasons, it looked like they were circling and holding hands, and they were going to hope them to death.
Yep. Yeah. Wasn't the greatest thing ever.
It wasn't the great as far as an action sequence goes. There was a lot to be desired. Because my first thought when the quote orb of death, and I'll say quote because Cisco obviously has not authorized that. When it starts shooting lasers, I kind of thought, are they supposed to punch the lasers? I'm confused.
Right.
Several of these people do not have laser punching abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Supergirl, sure, she could punch a laser. Barry, probably. I
was uncertain as to how a lot of these people survived all of that lightning while they were holding hands.
It seemed like several of them should have gone down. I don't know. Minimally, several of them urinated on themselves.
Right. Of course they did.
That's what happens when you get tased, people. That's what happens when you get tased. Now, that being said, having bitched about it and all, all worth it for like the first couple minutes with Supergirl where Oliver and Barry bring her in, and is this the super? Like, she's so excited.
Mm-hmm.
Arrow's trying to be all serious about it, and Barry's just almost scoffing at him a little bit. Just, no, man, no. I don't know. I love the tone of it. Like, I really enjoyed that.
While the effects of John turning into Martian Manhunter were really, really bad, they
have definitely been done better.
The reaction that Diggle had was kind of fun, but also kind of annoying because I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. The first time he saw Barry, he threw his fries. Now he's dropping
his
a
burger.
hamburger.
Yeah.
By the way, how does Diggle eat all this shit and stay in shape?
I don't know. That dude made me want a burger. I mean, he was really enjoying that burger.
I'm really hungry right now.
Yeah, me too. These things happen.
I really want dinner, man.
Yeah, and they make Big Billy Burger look fantastic. But
they do.
I did though. I laughed at that as an inside joke. Like, okay, all right, that's cute. It was the fries first, the burger next. Next time when he sees, I don't want to say that. That can't be real. And none of this can possibly be happening in any kind of real time pocket. It's not like this is an episode that happens, before you see the season.
Right. Yeah, Fight Club can't be real.
No,
you
can't. I mean, Grodd alone just can't. But you wouldn't know where to upgrade it if it was going to be he sees Supergirl next.
He said he's going to pee. David Ramsey says that his character pees a little.
He's going to pee just a little bit.
I'd like to know how they're going to portray that on television.
I don't know either. I maybe it's going to be a line like Oliver almost jokingly says, "What, did you pee yourself?" And he just doesn't say anything. Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's that simple. I don't think they're actually going to show a crotch shot of Ramsey pissing himself. That seems unlikely.
Yeah, I don't know. So
But, yeah, I liked a lot of the dialogue, and I liked watching all the characters together was a lot of fun. Like seeing Supergirl, Arrow, and Flash on screen actually talking together, not some like digital one-shot Photoshop thing. Was I got a little giddy. I got a little excited about the next season because I know it's only like a couple months where I get to see them hang out together for real.
yeah, absolutely. So CW released an extended sizzle reel for all their shows with a lot of Dare to Defy shit being yelled at us in the thing. Lots of shots of their superheroes and people from Supernatural and different shows walking around dramatically in really cheesy sets.
Sure.
Like, obviously just shit that was, like, constructed for, like, a photo shoot. It looks pretty awful. The less said about it, the better. Moving on to The Flash.
They clearly pulled some footage that they had.
A little bit, but not much,
and
man.
put a lot of money into it. I mean, it was most
of it was, like, Flash or, like, you know, Sam and Dean standing against a background
Like by
of,
a
like,
prop
lasers.
table.
Like, there's, like, a background of lasers, and then they're, like, meat hooks hanging in front of them, and they're just, like, posing.
I think at some point it's Wally running in the Flash suit, but at regular speed.
I did see that, yeah.
It was nice to see him running all in the suit, but clearly didn't spend money on anything else.
Right.
And I got to the end of that and thought, wait, did iZombie show up? Did I miss her?
I don't know.
Where are you, Liv?
Over to The Flash, Run Devil Run extended trailer. A lot of fun stuff in that. Don't Call Me Kid Flash. Barry unraveling in Flashpoint, not remembering what has happened, him losing his powers. Barry and Iris don't know each other. Problems fighting the rival.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Ed Gross over at Empire Online had some questions with Tom Felton. I believe he had 9 questions with Tom Felton. Some of them I didn't deem pertinent, but we're going to talk about the ones I did.
Okay.
What can you say about your character? Tom Felton says, not a lot. He's a CSI investigator, a forensic expert with similar skills to Barry, which gives them a different relationship to, I think, anyone else that he works with, because they're sort of treading on each other's toes in their field of expertise. Ed says, does that make the relationship contentious, or does that make them adversaries? Tom says, because of this new world where Barry's not familiar with all of these relationships, due to the change in the timeline, everyone knows me. I'm part of the world, so he's not quite sure why they aren't as friendly as maybe they should be. They have a slightly clashing heads approach to work, mostly because my character seems to be keen to reveal the information before Barry does. I think for Barry, it's like he's seeing someone who's as sharp, if not sharper than him in his field. Certainly not quicker. Ed says, how are you finding the CSI vocabulary? Tom says, it's not even CSI, it's forensic. Talking about the stratum corneum. Yeah, I was referring to my Latin book often to make sure I pronounce things correct. Again, it's very easily done when I have Grant there, because I feel like he's a walking labyrinth of how to pronounce ridiculous medical terms. Ed says, was there particular research you've done to get a better understanding of your character in this universe? Tom says, no, I'm not one generally to do that stuff anyway, and they didn't even ask me whether I'd seen the show. They didn't tell me anything about what I was going to play. They just inferred that there was going to be a lot of meat to sink my teeth into. I was in 3 of the Harry Potter films without reading one of those books. Quite thankfully. This was different. Actually, it was kind of surreal, because I started watching one episode just for fun, shits and giggles. One led to 35, and there I was a week later, glued to it all, a huge fan of the show, to then be on set the next day over a metahuman carcass talking about stratum corneum with Barry Allen. I was like fangirling out a bit. I had to calm myself down a few times, but it makes it fun coming in as a fan. There's a real feel-good warmth to the show. It feels like you're watching, for lack of a better analogy, Friends mixed with Spider-Man or Batman.
That's not entirely crazy.
Yeah. Ed says, was it tough getting up to speed? Were there a lot of plot lines going around on that show? He says, now that you've said it, it probably was. I took the original stuff that I read as standalone. I didn't have anything to refer to, so to me it was all new. It's delightfully simple, the show, but it has many moving parts. It certainly makes you pay attention. So I thought those were some pretty neat little insights into his character. I'm pretty psyched to be seeing what he's doing on the show.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy for the Flash being back. Like, it is my favorite show.
It's yeah.
That isn't Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, that isn't Rick and Morty or Ash versus Evil Dead, which is also coming back really soon.
Even still, I'll get around to Ash. I'll even get around to Morty if I'm watching the Flash.
Yeah, I mean, well, for the show, yeah, we have to watch the Flash. I love all three of them so much. Anyway, Tom Cavanagh was asked about any Flashpoint changes to Wells. He says, considering Barry changed the timeline, you would think that. This is Natalie Abrams, not him, from TV Line. She says, considering Barry changed the timeline, you would think that Tom Cavanagh might be playing the original Harrison Wells, who maybe in this timeline was not killed by Reverse Flash, but it appears that's not the case. And then Tom Cavanagh says, I played the original Wells on the beach with Tess. This guy won't be that guy. If the show has strengths, I would argue that we're not repeating ourselves generally, and specifically, I'm trying not to repeat myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So over to John Wesley Shipp on playing Jay Garrick and where he got his inspiration playing him differently than Henry. He says, I figure Jay is my version of Barry 25 years later. His Barry. He says, so I went back and
a lot.
He says, I went back and I watched a couple of episodes of the 1991 version to kind of remind myself what I did. Jay is much more reminiscent of my Barry Allen from 25 years ago than my Henry Allen. I went back and I was amazed how much attitude my Barry Allen had in some situations. I went back and I picked up that thread and I brought it forward 25 years and tried to weave it in. I think that's fun for the audience too, that they will see elements of my Barry Allen and my Jay Garrick. Grant Gustin's Barry Allen is the speedster of the show, so everything is discussed in terms of how it affects Grant's Barry. When the Iron Mask comes off and he sees essentially his dad, that's kind of like a 1-2 punch because it's his dad, but it's not. If the Iron Mask comes off and it was Henry by another name, what would be the interest in that? In conjunction with Andrew Kreisberg and Greg Berlanti, we wanted to make Jay very different from Henry. When Grant and I were running lines and I was being Jay, he just put his head down and started laughing. I said, what's up? And he said, it's just so cool watching you play this.
Yeah, it is fun. And he's right. Like it having gone through the show, for better or worse, we did watch that damn show. And
oh yeah.
If we can get some of the pickup on that, and actually, like as we've discussed many times, we'd like to see that some sort of, I don't know, authorized lead-in from the previous Flash. Mm-hmm. But to some extent, if all we got is the attitude, just the way he played him still being represented, that would be nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, look, man, all things considered, we've gotten what we wanted. We saw Barry running through a tunnel, and we saw 90s Flash.
The 90s Flash, yeah.
Now, maybe they play with that later. I would be happy if they play with that later.
In a way, though, actually, I just thought about this. If Flashpoint could have changed the name of that guy to Jay Garrick instead of Henry Allen.
I don't think it would have messed with Earth 3.
Yeah, they did say it wouldn't mess with other Earths. And we're guessing Earth 3. We're just enumerating an Earth.
No, we're not.
Is it Earth 3?
Jay said, I'm from what you would call Earth 3 at the end of
he did.
Season 2.
You're right.
Yeah. So.
And he obviously hasn't messed with whatever the hell Earth Supergirl comes from.
So, again, Ed Gross at Empire Online had an interview with executive producer Aaron Helbing. It was kind of a longish interview. I didn't go into all of it because a lot of it was just stuff we know about, like how it's awesome working on the show and showing different facets of the characters and be able to do something like Flashpoint that changes the characters, like it's a little soft reboot for a few minutes and we can see other, versions of them. Mm-hmm. Understandable. All really cool. All awesome that you can go back to the first episode and they're kind of different people. Here's some of the interesting stuff that we didn't know is basically what I'm going. Ed says, Flashpoint doesn't last the entire season, does it? Aaron says, no, but the impact and the various decisions are going to reverberate throughout the entire season. It's the reason that villains like Dr. Alchemy and Savitar are part of the show. We liken it to when you have a perfect, pristine vase that you break. even if you put it back together, there's always going to be those little cracks. It's never ever going to be exactly how it was. For example, when you meet the rival in episode 1, he'll have an impact in episode 2. This guy, Edward Clarice, remembers everything that happens in Flashpoint. All of the pieces that we set up in Flashpoint are going to play out throughout the entire season. It's going to be something that Barry and his team are going to be grappling with and struggling against and trying to overcome. Ed asks, does it ever reach a point where people want to say to Barry, you know, dude, every time we tell you not to do something and you do it anyway, it goes horribly awry. That really seems to be an ongoing problem. Aaron says we approach these characters as living, breathing people who have emotions and their own opinions who makes mistakes. Yes, eventually there will be a point where people will say, Barry, this affected me, and we need to talk about this. He isn't given a get-out-of-jail-free card. Ed says, how much of a concern is there over the other superhero shows being affected by Flashpoint? Obviously, there is a producer overlap to oversee these things, but the assumption is that there will be an impact on Arrow, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow. Aaron says, yes, definitely. Arrow for sure is impacted. Diggle is significantly impacted in his life personally. The beauty is, since Greg and Andrew are producers on all 4 shows and we deal with executive producers Guggenheim and Clemmer and Mericle, we sit down and we talk about it and are pretty much on the same page. I think something special that you don't get to experience on a lot of other shows is how interconnected they all are. To me, as a fan of all of them, that gets me really excited. It kind of holds true to in the comic book universe when you're going to do something like Blackest Night that affects all of these characters and all these different storylines who are in their own stories, but they begin to overlap. It's the same thing with these shows. Now, I think that's really interesting, but it kind of bothers me that they're going to be messing with Arrow so much with Flashpoint.
Not at all.
Because
not at all for me. It's the mother show.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like if I was a person who was sitting and watching Arrow and not watching the other shows, which, God forbid, why would I? But still,
there are people.
I don't want
there are people that just refuse.
I know.
Actually, honestly, my wife is one that just can't stand Arrow, but she's like really excited to see the new Flash.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just the fact that some event on another show is going to impact the show that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, you're right. It's going to be weird, but I'm kind of excited to see how they deal with it.
Well, I've got some information on that, and I'm not happy.
Oh.
Over to Arrow. Stephen Amell posted a picture of himself and Deathstroke sitting on a park bench.
Yeah, I saw that.
Purportedly for the 100th episode. Now, Susanna Thompson, who played Moira, she's coming back for the 100th episode.
Yeah, why the hell not?
And, last week, Mark Guggenheim put out that picture of the table read. He says it's not Flashpoint, it's not a flashback, so we don't know what's going on there. And it should be noted that the 100th episode of Arrow happens right damn slap in the middle of the crossover event with the other shows. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind. Did you see the Arrow Season 5 Meet the Team trailer?
I did.
I think it looks pretty fun.
I think so far the season looks
better.
Better, yeah. It looks like it's going to be a lot more fun than previous seasons. And I always hesitate saying that because it's Arrow, and they do this kind of shit to you in the off-season where they're like, oh, look how much fun we're going to have. And then by like episode 3, you think, oh my God, that was so emotionally draining.
Uh-huh.
But this time it's not so much let me put it this way. Going into last season, we were worried about like, well, they've got the Olicity thing, but what if they rip the rug out from under us? And sure enough, they were going to rip the rug out from under us, and we all knew that by the end of like episode 1.
Yeah.
So like that focus on the ring was just, oh come on, guys, you're not even gonna let me pretend this is gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Now this one though is just it's not wrapped up in just 2 characters that may or may not be able to make it. This is a whole team. It's going to have its ups and downs, but maybe as a whole, we can have a season of Arrow that's kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Also, and I've said it before, it's going to get down to more street-level violence, which works out really well. I mean, do you remember the parkour happening in, like, season 1 of Arrow?
I do. Parkour and Nexus snapping, man.
Nexus snapping. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah. So, Stephen Amell shared a picture of Supergirl and Green Arrow on a rooftop in Star City. Mm-hmm. That was fun. Mm-hmm. Dug that. Here's a thing that I didn't care for. Wendy Mericle is just bringing the spoiler, but she officially released it. She talked about it. So, this is from an interview with TV Guide. Yeah. TVGuide.com. Wendy Mericle is talking about the effects of Flashpoint. and how it's going to lead to the return of Katie Cassidy as Laurel Lance.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and admit I'm happy to have that spoiled.
Yeah.
Kinda.
She says, I could tell you that we're really excited about having her back. You will see in the episodes where she appears, episode 510 definitely, our mid-season premiere. Keep your eyes out for that. We're so excited about getting to work with her again and her willingness to come back. Getting to work with her again, it's like she was just gone for a couple episodes, guys.
Yeah.
She says, it's one of the fun parts of the show. People can leave and get killed, and you can still find new and crazy ways for them to come back. I can definitely tell you that there's a way we're going to bring her back, and she's going to be alive and well. And Flashpoint might have a little bit to do with that. And I'm thinking, but remember all the promises about how death was going to matter?
Mm-hmm. That's what you should be thinking.
And how you made sure that you destroyed all the Lazarus pits so that you couldn't bring anybody back. And death was going to matter. And death was going to matter. And death was going to matter.
Death was going to matter, yeah.
Oh no, all the fans are pissed because Laurel's gone. Well, better use Flashpoint to bring her back.
Okay, there's that, but then if you look at it as an in-universe thing, death is going to matter, all these things, and Lazarus pits, and we just destroyed the last Lazarus pit, and all that, and then, oh my god, Barry changed time.
Mm-hmm.
In all fairness, Barry just plain changed time.
Sure.
And they didn't actually resort to that as an excuse before, which they wouldn't have been allowed to do, because that was supposed to be a huge thing. And it was a huge thing. When that happened in the show, watching it live, I thought, oh fuck, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. As it's happening the whole time, I'm thinking, are they really doing this? They're really doing this. They're really doing this.
Here's what I'm guessing is going to happen. Since she has a contract to appear on multiple TV shows, what we're probably going to deal with is she's going to be doing double duty. I bet she'll play Black Siren on The Flash. She'll come back as Laurel because of Flashpoint, but then realize she's not supposed to be alive
and join Legends.
Exactly. Joining Legends.
You know what? If she brings back the chops she used in the last couple episodes of Arrow that she was on, bring it on. She did a great job.
She did.
She did. We've gone over it before. They gave her very little to do, and she just didn't have a lot of agency as a character, and it got tiresome. But if she's got a real agenda, let's do this. If you're just bringing her back for the hell of it, come on, man. Do something.
Right. So Guggenheim has tweeted out a couple of police sketches, one by Neil Adams, which is, as he put it, new Arrow costume, new police sketch. So that one was by Neil Adams. He put out a police sketch of Vigilante. Put out a sketch of Vigilante by George Perez, which is fitting as hell. Did you see the promo with Diggle's new helmet?
I saw the stills. I didn't see the promo.
Okay, it's not that important to see the promo. We're going to be seeing it day after tomorrow anyway. Yeah. But Diggle's helmet looks sweet.
30-something hours between now and when I see that.
Yeah, there's a ton of promos and stuff.
It's sleek and fun.
I dig it.
I assume it was Cisco that made this for him still, because that's what the show told me was going to happen.
Yeah.
So God only knows what kind of tricks he put in that thing.
Yeah. So Stephen Amell posted this on Twitter. This is all he wrote, by the way. Monday, Arrow 508/Flash 308. Tuesday, Arrow 508/Flash 308. Wednesday, Legends 207, Flash 308. Thursday, Legends 207, Friday, Arrow 509. I'm assuming that's the crossover schedule for that week.
For him, at least, yeah. So, I mean, well, obviously,
no, it looks to me that looks like that's how they're going to be airing it.
I can't tell. That might have just been which episodes he was appearing in. It doesn't mean he's not going to show up in his own series for a second, or not show up in his own series for a second.
Well, Flash, Monday, it looks like the way he put it, Monday and Tuesday, it was going to be Arrow 508 and then followed by Flash 308. Then Wednesday, it was going to be Legends 207 and then Flash 308. And then Thursday, Legends 207 followed by Arrow 509. Maybe they decided that certain things had to be viewed in a certain order. I don't know. That's weird.
To me, that sounds like weird. More his schedule, personally.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's what he's doing this week.
He's in Vancouver, and they're just sending him to different sets, saying all right, man. You need to be here about 3 p.m. because you're on Legends over there right now.
You know what? I bet you're right. I'm an idiot. Yeah, that's That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you, man. This is why you're part of the show.
Hey, glad to help.
I don't hate you anymore.
Yay, I'm -1 on that margin. That's only
Hooray!
That's only 1 now. It's only 1 I hate you. I think I had 2 before.
Nah, man, that was worth 2.
That was
worth 2, man.
Back to 0. You are completely neutral to me. That's our standard working relationship.
I love you, buddy.
Love you too, Dave.
So the role for Cody Rhodes has been revealed on Arrow.
You sound disappointed. You're even clearing your throat.
Well, yeah, I'm clearing my throat because it started to get weird. But WWE star Cody Rhodes is going to be on Arrow.
We knew that.
They're saying, yeah, we knew that. It says, now that Oliver has his new team, they are ready to hit the streets, but Oliver doesn't feel they are ready. Headstrong Wild Dog defies the Green Arrow's orders.
Of course he does.
See, I love that. The Green Arrow. That's badass, yo. Defies the Green Arrow's orders and sets out on his own after a new drug dealer, Garrett Runnels, guest star Cody Rhodes. And by the way, I think Garrett Runnels is apparently his real name. Who is terrorizing Star City. Runnels proves more powerful than Wild Dog, and it is up to the Green Arrow. See? Badass. To go head-to-head with Runnels to save his team. I am! And this is Green Arrow's 75th anniversary anyway. So going back to like Golden Age shit, the Green Arrow. The Green Arrow! Yeah. Yes! It's weird, like, to get to this point in my life. I'm 33 years old, and suddenly I'm realizing I think the Golden Age was my favorite era. Just to give it a weight. Weight to it.
I know. The stuff I've gotten to read out of Rebirth looks like it's going to be pretty fun thus far.
Mm-hmm. So Echo Kellum is talking about how they got all Arrow business done in the crossover. Like I said, everyone's kind of did the math on it and realized that the 100th episode of Arrow was going to be right in the middle of the big crossover between the shows.
Yeah. Blood pressures across the production cast went up.
And across the fandom. Echo Kellum, Mr. Terrific, says, I definitely think we are handling our Arrow business and still doing this crossover. I think that's a good thing, especially for this magnitude of an episode. I know that the last few crossovers were helping set up other shows, but there's no element of that here. Every show here is an already established show. If you're doing a crossover to help set up Legends of Tomorrow, then logically, you're going to have to spend some time dealing with these new characters who are coming in. Yeah, because if you don't, then you're doing a disservice to the new show.
Sure.
He did say, though, that even though they don't spend a lot of time setting up characters on this year's crossover, he considers that kind of writing to be an investment in the future of the show and its shared universe. But he says, I literally, when I read those scripts, my mind was like, holy hell, how are we going to do all of this? Are we going to do all of this? Is this real? And we're doing it, and it's coming out great. James Bamford is back, and he's killing it as always, and I just cannot wait for fans to see this crossover.
That's fantastic. The big recap as far as how they've approached the last 3 crossover seasons is first time you could watch each show separately, and it was supposed to still make sense. But if you happen to be watching both shows, good for you, and it all makes more sense, and it's all more rewarding. Well, great. And then next time became, no, seriously, you've got to watch everything. And that was partly because they were using it as a backdoor pilot for Legends of Tomorrow. So we're going to launch this entirely new show on Thursday night, and if you're the kind of person who's already watching Tuesday or Wednesday night for us, you damn well need to be part of the demographic of Thursday. Mm-hmm. There were some moves being played here, but this time apparently, and he's right, is it has nothing to do with that. I think first of all, you've got a new show coming in, Supergirl, but it's an established new show. So what the fuck? I mean, they've been pimping this thing all summer. And second, they don't need to introduce who she is or what she is. You've already got like 2 seasons you can catch up on.
Yeah. So over to Legends of Tomorrow. They've released the first JSA photo of the team together. It looks pretty awesome. There's a Stargirl and a Dr. Midnight and an Hour Man and a Vixen, and I just want it now. Mm-hmm. There's a little synopsis here. It says, the Legends travel to Nazi-occupied Paris, but find themselves surrounded by the Justice Society of America. The Legends discover a time aberration that threatens the JSA, but the JSA wants nothing to do with them or their help. Nevertheless, the Legends force their way into the JSA's mission to intercept and seize a mysterious package. Nate is desperate to prove that he should be a part of the team, but he has a secret that he shares with his grandfather, Commander Steele, that might make it difficult. Ray is so focused on impressing the JSA, he puts himself and Vixen in danger. Meanwhile, Stein has stepped in as the leader with Rip gone, but when decisions aren't being made, Sarah seems to be the one calling the shots. So, yeah, there's that going on. Lance Hendrickson has confirmed that he is going to be Green Lantern's son in Legends of Tomorrow. And he'll be gay. He says they have... It's all in there, every bit of it. Being Green Lantern's son and all that stuff, and him being gay, it's all in there. It's treated, honestly, kind of ungently. It's a real thing. Even one of my lines says, if you're lucky enough to find love again after anything has ever happened to you, well, embrace it. Obsidian says, son, he's waiting for me at home. So he also said that 44-year-old actor Dan Payne is going to be playing the younger version of Obsidian, and he's going to be playing the 77-year-old Obsidian. So some of those
will be fun.
Questions answered.
Those will be fun.
Krypton has cast Cameron Cuff as Seg-El, which is going to be the grandfather of Superman. So yeah, still looks like that's happening.
Yep. I'll believe it when I see a premiere date, and I'm planning for it. But till then, just okay.
Yeah. So over to animated, they've released the first group photo of Justice League Dark with Constantine, Deadman, Zatanna, and Batman, because of course they have to have Batman in there, even though he's not really a part of the group.
Yeah, he's not at all.
There is going to be a Batman Return of the Cape Crusaders limited edition Blu-ray that's going to have some cool art with it. Mm-hmm. Some like cards and whatnot. Including the special features, those Dastardly Desperados featurette, and a classic cadre of voices. They have released who some of the other people are on this movie, aside from Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar. Mm-hmm. Steven Weber and Thomas Lennon are going to be in the movie as Alfred Pennyworth and Chief O'Hara. So Thomas Lennon's going to be Chief O'Hara.
That's just weird. Perfect.
Yeah.
No, Jeff, he can do exactly that tone. Perfect.
Yeah. Jeff Bergman is going to be the Joker, and announcer William Salyers is the Penguin, Wally Wingert as the Riddler, Lynn Marie Stewart as Aunt Harriet, Jim Ward as Commissioner Gordon, and Serena Irwin as TV show host Miranda Moore. Over on the Nerdist...
Are we going to do a review of that? I know we're going to see it next week.
We are. We're going to do a review of that. Mike Mignola apparently did an animated... There was going to be an animated New Gods, and it fell through, but he did a bunch of designs. This is the creator of Hellboy. He's done a bunch of stuff on DC, World of Krypton, Gotham by Gaslight. But he was... Yeah, there are designs up. I'll put up a link. The Nerdist ran with it. It first showed up on artist Shane White's Tumblr account. Big news this week, which wasn't news, but has been around all over the place. Greg Rucka confirmed that Wonder Woman is bisexual. This is something that and he even name drops Morrison as having done it in Wonder Woman Earth 1. Rucka says, it's supposed to be paradise. You're supposed to be able to live happily. You're supposed to be able in a context where one can live happily. And part of what an individual needs for that happiness is to have a partner, to have a fulfilling romantic and sexual relationship. And the only options are women. But an Amazon doesn't look at another Amazon and say, you're gay. They don't. The concept doesn't exist. Now, are we saying Diana has been in love and had relationships with other women? As Nicola and I approach it, the answer is obviously yes. So this isn't, even if you look back at the old, at the creator, he was a feminist. He was into all that stuff. He would have, he couldn't actually say it back then.
No, he said it, actually.
But he did not in the books.
No, not in the books. But as a person, he was wholeheartedly feminist. Mm-hmm. His wife went on after him to go ahead and confirm it.
Yeah, they themselves were kind of swingers.
They were
very, very
around
open
with things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it makes perfect sense for Wonder Woman to be, I guess you would say, bisexual. Makes sense to me.
Fine enough term.
That's the end of.
Come on, man. It's Greg Rucka.
Mm-hmm. And before him, Grant Morrison.
Yeah. If I throw those two names at you and say, prove Wonder Woman should have done something differently. Come on, who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah. All right, so that's it for the news. We are doing a giveaway for trade paperbacks, DVD, or Blu-ray, $15 or under. 1 in 10 people who write a 5-star written review on iTunes gets one of these things. We got 4 more reviews this week, so we're going to blow through those real quick.
Knock them out. And thank you in advance.
Yes, thank you. The Magic 24 Iffy says, love it, great reviews, strong, well thought out opinions. What's not to like?
Us.
Mick Merlin. Yeah, us. Mick Merlin says, this is one of my favorite things anyone's ever said about us. Irreverent as hell. This podcast with Dave and Jason is a wonderful little listen, like hanging out at your local comic shop and listening to the patrons gab on. Between rapid-fire news episodes and hilarious DC TV episode recaps and reviews, I find myself looking forward to every Monday and Tuesday to get my fill of these guys. While we might not always agree, a good time is always had by all. Keep up the fun work, guys. We'll try.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, I like to think this next review, the name doesn't say nut job. It's NTJ08, and it totally looks like nut job. I think that's on purpose.
It's nut job.
They say, awesome. These guys are very entertaining and knowledgeable about all things DC. They are one of the highlights of my work week. Keep up the good work. That's very nice, but then they go on to say this. Oh, and keep Charles off of the show.
Oh, yeah.
LOL.
You informed me about this.
Well, first of all, thanks for the kind words. We do appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know exactly who Nut Job could be referring to, except for maybe giant-sized team-up network epic boss Charles McFall. So, here to defend himself for the first time ever on DC On Screen, Charles McFall.
Hey, this is Charles, and I don't know why your review is saying that I need to be kept off of this show. It's not like I've ever made an appearance on this show. I'm currently actually making like my 10th appearance on MCU Cast. Right now, we're doing the Luke Cage special. Go check that out, MCUcast.com. But, I've never actually been on DC On Screen, so what the hell, man? Why am I getting picked on? Why do I get told I can't be on your show? Jason, David, you guys aren't going to stand for this, right? You're not going to stand for that at all, right? Right?
We won't stand for it, Charles. In fact, Jason and I are both sitting
adamantly
right now as we speak.
Dutifully sitting.
Dutifully sitting.
Also, we have there's so many flavors of hate on our show. Just so many different flavors and kinds and strengths and weaknesses of our hates. Like this is a field, like a harvest of hate that we do anywhere between and even if you haven't appeared on the show. Yeah, we love a ton of things, but I cannot discriminate against any single kind of hate, even if it's against you, who has never actually technically been here. So,
right.
Charles, I love you, but I have to stand behind the hate as well. So I'm just going to stand behind both of you once I stand. Once I bother standing.
As you fight it out.
Yeah.
Jason and I will be firmly planted in our seats watching you two duke it out.
Okay, I'm going to sit behind both of you. And
the whole world will have front row seats.
Yeah.
So, lastly, Deep and Nerdy. He gave us a review.
I do love these names. I just do.
I know. Now, I'll go ahead with the review. He says, what can I say about DC On Screen? Well, these guys are jackasses that can't pronounce names.
Damn straight.
Which is something we said last week. It was a nice callback, dude. Nice callback, dude. Just joking, but seriously, Dave and Jason. No, he's not joking. That's true. Dave and Jason.
We are actually Dave and Jason, so that part's true.
We have. That part is true. Dave and Jason have been a part of my daily routine for a good long while now. I'd say about a year. I look forward to the show every week. Also, their fan interaction is almost unparalleled compared to a lot of other podcasts I listen to. And I deliver pizzas for a living, so podcasts are a staple in my daily routine. Dave and I have personally spoken on several occasions about things, and it's always a great conversation. As part of all of my reviews, I always like to give proper thanks for providing all sorts of inspiration to me and my buddy. It's podcasts like this one that gave me the proper amount of courage in being nerdy, and I started a podcast on my own.
Oh,
now, in the spirit,
good work.
Yep. Now, in the spirit of this being a review, I will not mention my podcast here because, well, that's cocky. Nerd Talkalypse.
Nerd Talkalypse?
That's their podcast. Yep.
Nerd Talkalypse or Nerd
That's their
Talkalypse?
podcast. I think it's Nerdtalkalypse. Nerdtalkalypse.
All right, well,
I believe.
we'll get the information straight and come back with it.
I'll put a link in the show notes.
There you go.
But Dave, the poster I won at the carnival a few months ago deserves to be talked about, damn it. In all seriousness, bravo DC on Screen. You guys are awesome, and I will listen to you until DC decides to stop hitting screens, and even then I'll come back to my podcatcher like a cemetery and remember all of the times you two made me smile while smelling pizza and wondering what it's like on the other side of the airwaves. That got really deep and sad.
It did, and really freaking, like, the language of it is just fantastic.
Right. Yeah, I enjoy it. Like a cemetery.
Oh, the imagery is just, mwah. And
Holy shit, man.
Fantastic. I'm super impressed with this.
This might be my favorite thing I've read.
Yes.
You know what it reminds
Other
me
than,
of?
like, one guy said, keep it up, you fuckers, or something.
Right. Like, this just makes me think of, I just envision Deej Penhollow. Who, that's the guy. It's almost like the bit from SNL where John Belushi is old and goes to the gravesite of all of his SNL co-stars, and he's dancing on their graves after telling everyone the terrible ways that they died.
Of course.
That's what it's making me think of. But this poster that I promised to talk about and never did. This is a thing. This was a Photoshop that was online of the Justice League, and poor Deej got this as a prize. And I don't know. I don't know if I would trash it or display it proudly, but some bastard gave this away as a prize. And it's a terribly photoshopped picture of the Justice League. It's like Chris Pine as Green Lantern, Josh Hartnett forced into a Flash costume. I can't even tell who Cyborg is.
It looked Ray Fisher-y.
It wasn't Ray Fisher, though. And, you know,
fishy.
This is way before Ray Fisher
Fishy?
was even
It just
involved.
looked fishy.
It just looked fishy. That's what you're looking for. And, I mean, it might have worked for a desktop background at some point before we actually had real pictures of the Justice League.
Well, now we have the actual, we have the pictures, the high def freaking pictures of everyone except, like, my first thought when you sent me that picture was, why is there a lantern in there? Mm-hmm. Hold on now. Why is there so much green?
And then you realize that it looks like, you know, someone shoved John Hamm's face into Batman's mask, and you go, oh.
Yeah,
something's wrong here.
I got it. My major two thoughts looking at that poster. And by the way, it reminded me of the towel you have of the Justice League.
Which is the animated Justice League.
I know, but like the way they were placed, it reminded me of that.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
But well, that's another thing. It made me sad that this didn't include Martian, but I just may never get that in that. So I'm so thankful for Supergirl.
Yeah, he's been kind of pushed out.
I know, I'm sad. But my two overwhelming thoughts were, you know what? Chris Pine looks great. Let's cast him. Mm-hmm. And two, I'm sorry, Hartnett. I have nothing against you, but Ezra Miller's just so damn excited to be the Flash. Mm-hmm. Let him go.
I think the only person I would have really wanted to see other than Ezra Miller at this point, that wasn't Grant Gustin, would be Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, he'd do it.
But anyway. So that does for our giveaway. That brings us up to 6 reviews. 4 more and we'll have a drawing. So come on, guys. 4 more. Next time we can do this. We could give away another thing. That'd be just like John Lynette. Have you guys seen that on our Facebook or Twitter? Like we wound up being responsible for giving his daughter her first comic book. Man, he posted that shit and I got all teary.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
That made me extraordinarily sappy. I regret nothing.
Just a little, like the cutest little girl you've ever seen holding a Superman for All Seasons.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
So that's going to do it for our show. We will be doing a shortened Saturday recording of the news this coming week, along with our reviews of Gotham, Lucifer, Flash, and Arrow, because on Monday, we're going to be going to see Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders in the theater, Fathom event, and then we're going to be bringing you a review of that directly after.
Mm-hmm. Possibly from a car. We'll see.
Probably from a car. But that wouldn't be the first time you've heard that from us. Thank you so much for listening, guys. You can find every episode at dconscreen.com. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher. Like I said, give us those reviews. Be entered in. Come on, guys. Do it. We're a proud member of the Giant Size Team Up Network. GiantSizeTeamUp.com. Thank you to Charles McFall for being a good sport and coming in and saying stuff. And we're a proud member of the
And we don't know how that happened,
Podcast
Charles,
Network.
and I'm sorry in a way.
We don't. Don't know what happened.
I assume it's one of your
wanna
people.
hug you.
Investigate.
You know, I didn't think about it, but it might be actually someone who thinks that Chris White's name is Charles and doesn't like the Batman Telltale reviews he's been doing.
That's
I don't know.
bollocks. He's been doing fine reviews.
I know. So if that's the case,
I don't know what to do.
No, nut job. We won't stand for that either. Until next time, when there's going to be so many new shows,
Yeah.
keep some DC on your screen.